But when you say his death experience, what was his death experience?
His death experience when he was a 16-year-old boy in Madurai, schoolboy, going to school as usual. One day he was alone in a room in his house, and he was supposed to be studying for whatever, his school's homework, whatever. And suddenly an intense fear of death came upon him. And he has described it later when people questioned him about it. He described it in words, but he said actually what happened was beyond words. I mean, though he, for the sake of giving people some idea of what happened, he expressed it in words. But how he expressed it in words was, but when that intense fear of death came, he understood that he had to confront death. He had to find out for himself whether what he was. When that fear came, what he understood, the body is going to die. But when the body dies, do I also die? There was an incident earlier in his life, but had some bearing on this. When he was 12 years old, his father had passed away. And after his father passed away, the body was lying there and ready to be taken for cremation, and everyone was weeping. And he was just puzzled by the whole thing. But he said, why everyone saying father has gone? Father's just lying here. And someone said, no, if it was your father, if this was your father, he would talk to you, he would smile, he would everything. But see, he's not responding to you, so he is dead. Then he thought to himself, all this time I was taking this body to be my father, but now they say my father has gone, and this body obviously is not my father. Then what is the difference between this body lying here and this body, my own body? Then after thinking for some time, he understood the difference is, I now know the I am in this body, but the I that was in my father's body has gone. That he came to that understanding at the age of 12. So obviously this was a seed that was working in his mind. So when this fear of death came to him, what he wanted to find out is, when this body dies, am I also going to die?
Right. I think a lot of us have the same question.
Yeah. So, but generally when we get a fear of death, if circumstances arise that give us a fear of death, we generally, how most of us respond is our mind goes outwards. We think of all the things that we fear to lose. Our friends, our relatives, all the things that we hold dear in life. Those are the things we fear to lose, so our mind goes outward. In Bhagavan's case, it worked the opposite way. Rather than thinking about his mother, his brothers, his sister, his friends at school and everything, he thought only about I. When this body dies, am I going to die? So his mind went inwards. And because his mind went inwards, trying to find out what is this I, the clear experience of his real nature shone forth, thereby consuming the one who had the fear, the ego, but had been there previously. And consuming means absolute annihilation, dissolution, eradication. Yeah. So that one moment completely transformed him from being a person to being what is actually real.
Okay.
But in our view, he continued to live as a person for another 54 years. But he made it very clear the outward person that he seemed to be existed only in the view of others. In his view, there is only that infinite space of pure awareness.